Just add breath. We've been told that many times, and we tend to breathe when someone mentions it and often let it go the rest of the day. You know, people speak about folks looking for that magic bullet, that magic wand that changes everything. And they'll say, there is no magic wand, there's no magic bullet. You just got to slog through and do the hard work. Possibly. I do think there's a magic something here that's built into the design. It's part of the package, and it's the breath. When you breathe in a nice, gentle, full way, you focus on it, and you pause full, and you breathe out gently, and pause empty, your attention is on that process, which brings it into now. And now's where all the pleasure is. Now's where all the passion is. Now's where everything really happens, but we're often not now to experience what's happening. Have you ever been with a friend talking about how they care about you or something that you would imagine you'd be really happy to hear, and you're really not because you're busy with thoughts in your head. You're missing pieces of it. Those thoughts are taking you out of now. The ego has a way of grabbing the past, looking at the present, predicting the future, and it's a very not now process. And you're not your ego. Your ego is meant to be a servant to you. Lazarus, this multi-being, once channeled that the negative ego thinks it's the CEO, but it's actually the mailroom clerk. It's important, it's necessary, it brings messages in and out from the world. It helps you adapt to the world. It helps you look around and see what's happening and discern what is going on for people, which can help inform choices. But if you put the ego in charge of the choices, it's going to narrow things down because it's only got the past and the future, where you have all of eternity behind you. In ecstatic dance today, my favorite teacher, Michael Mullen-Skelton, read a poem that had a line about, may I live a life worthy of this next breath. Breathe that in. Let the breath come all the way in. The diaphragm extends. You feel the lower lungs, the upper lungs, and pause, full. That's where we absorb prana from the breath and give up trauma. That's where we exchange oxygen for carbon dioxide. And then you let the breath flow all the way out. Let it find its way out. It's a natural process. It's part of the package. And when the breath's all the way out, pause, empty. If you were to add this practice throughout your day, you would have more focus and you would have more now. So a lot of us think, yeah, I know it, I want to breathe more. And then we get in the middle of something and we're holding our breath again. I remember many years ago that I noticed that even when I was sitting in my chair doing therapy with someone, not needing to do anything but listen with my heart and let myself be guided, that I had tightened my buns and my back and everything was tense, like that was going to help somehow. And I held my breath. So I want to bring your focus to your life, to how often we call it hold your breath, but you just let the bare minimum of breathing happen. And notice what happens if you add breath to things. You reach over to pick something up. The tendency is to stop breathing, which makes things tight in the diaphragm. Instead, you can breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in if you wish before you go to pick it up. Breathe out as you're picking it up. And breathe in as you bring it up. You are doing dishes or you're doing some routine work. Can I include breath? We often say, and I have many times, I'm learning not to, we often say, take a breath, but you don't have to take it. It's not outside somewhere else and you have to borrow it or something. Breath is part of who you are. And the in-breath is called inspiration. So we're really breathing spirit into our body when we breathe with focus. And then we release whatever is not spirit. So physiologically, we breathe in fresh air, and the body exchanges carbon dioxide and its toxins for the oxygen and the energy in the air. Metaphysically, we're breathing in prana. There's life force in all air. We're breathing in prana and we're taking time for that to be absorbed in those little tiny alveoli in the lungs. They just soak it up. If you pause, full. And then you just wait till the breath wants to find its way out. See how slow and gentle it can be. And pause, empty. The body loves being empty. And you might not know it because your mind may not get empty very often, but there's a way the mind loves being empty too. Those moments when you're vegging on the grass in the summer or laying on a beach and just being the sun and the breeze and the sound of the waves and the mind is still. The body loves fasting. It loves that intermittent fasting of you have your noon meal and your evening meal and you cease eating by 7 or 8 at night, and then you let your body be empty, at least till breakfast or maybe till noon again. If you do that often enough, the body gets to rest, and in the rest is reparation. It gets to repair itself. Then you have more energy. I've been a student of energy all my life, and it helps me to remember where I came from. So the way I see the cosmos, one of the many ways, because I've explored it all my life too, just how I am. What I notice is that it seems as if there's one being, right? The creatrix of all, Holy Spirit, the source. And we know that there's this great out breath of that one being over thousands of years, over eons. And then there can be a great in-breathing. So in the out-breathing, my sense is this one being that's sparkling, iridescent, radiant light, full, just light, love, source of all. It differentiates into some sparks of light that I think become the archangelic realm. And so first, that's be the first out-breathing is the archangels. And then in this great curiosity of what else can we do, the archangels breathe out sparks of light that become the angels. And it may go like that for a while. It seems like that would be pretty entertaining. See what it's like to fill the cosmos with angels and archangels. And then curiosity comes again. I think this one being is infinitely curious. It's like if you've got forever, eternity, what do you want to do with it? Oh, let's play incarnational worlds now. So then the angelic energies differentiate sparks of light into incarnations, upper plane ones first. And still that spark of the divinity is there. And then as time passes, seemingly, as eternity moves, and there wants to be more engagement, more involvement, then those upper realms create incarnations that come down as far as our third dimension. And still that spark of light is in there. There is no outside God. It's impossible to be outside the source of all creation. There's no outside. So one source of energy is to keep sparking the spark of light. And the breath is really good with that. So you notice you're down in the doldrums. Breathe with me. The in-breath wants to come in, not be like that. We tend to say, oh, I need to breathe. And we tighten all the breathing apparatus, and the body goes, we'd do better if you'd relax. So allow the breath. You notice it's silent. And it just fills and fills and fills and holds. And then I allow it out. Pause empty. So my attention is on the breath arriving and leaving, and it's on now. So in now are all my resources. The mind that can intuit and discern and understand higher truth behind things. The reactive mind is operating off of past or future. I won't let one more person treat me that way, or you're going to keep acting like that. I don't know that I want to live with you. And the whole future gets brought into now, and nobody's present. It reminds me of some sessions I've had with couples, and they get into what they do, going back and forth with the conversations they have that don't finish. And I'll try to intervene, and they can't stop because this is what they do, and they won't let me in. And I've been known to say, nobody's listening. Please be still. Nobody is listening. Breathe and ground and find now. I know you can have these conversations, and that's not what you're paying me to do, to listen to what you already know how to do. So let's get into now and talk about what you're feeling in this moment. And let's slow it down. So one shares, the other reflects till they get heard. This one shares, the other reflects till they get heard. Then we have a now for the next level of the conversation. Otherwise, you just say all this stuff nobody hears. Okay? So I enroll them in finding now together. I've even been known in the middle of a session. This is not typical therapist behavior, but I have been known at one point where I just felt nothing was working to just say, Great Mother Goddess, I'm asking from divine intervention right now. I speak a little loud because I'm going on top of their voices, which I can't get to stop. I ask for your presence here. I have no idea what to do next. I know these two people deserve good guidance. And I know there's love underneath all of these conversations and games and ways they've learned to be together. And I need miracles right now. We all need some miracles, and I call you present to help us find those miracles. We just all got in now. Then I ask for breathing, and they breathe. Then they arrive, and then something new can happen. So sometimes the mind's busy, with another or yourself, you need a pattern interrupt. And a full breath is a pattern interrupt. It's exactly what you wouldn't normally do when you're worrying or scurrying or fretting or stewing. But if you can even catch a moment's thought of, that one might be kind of intense, kind of tense. And you might shake out. That resets the nervous system. You breathe in. That one might be fuller. Oh, pause. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got. Oh. Sometimes you need a little breath or two to get used to the rhythm. And then you breathe in. And you pause. And I use my hands sometimes to remind me that I'm filling my whole body and I'm opening to spirit. And then I can allow the light from spirit to flow in as I breathe out. And rest. Pattern interrupts. Chanting is another one. So you're going through your day and your mind is just going on and on and on about something, and you go starts as a chant, becomes nonsense syllables. It doesn't matter, it's sounding, and it got your attention. It's about getting in now. Sounding and chanting balance the parasympathetic nervous system and will tone the vagus nerve, which is the only one that runs the whole length of the body, of the torso, connects all the organs except the adrenals. So toning will get you into now. And nonsense syllables may help. If I'm going on and on about someone I'm angry about, my toning might be and I just sent them out and got me in. All the power and all the pleasure is in the present moment. So keep finding ways to get into the present moment. You ever noticed if you bend over to smell a flower, that for a moment there's just you and the aroma? You breathe it in and you want to maintain the breath long enough to really enjoy that aroma. And then you let it out. You see, the original design knows what to do. In our fast-paced world, we're very busy bringing ourselves one situation after another, one adventure after another, one new way to be, a new thing to do, a new thing to read, a new thing to watch, and one more experience after another, but we rarely slow down enough to have any of them. How many times this week have you started watching a video and didn't finish? Because another one came up and another, or the phone, or the something. One of the secrets that I learned in Tantra is we slow everything down so we can arrive and have that experience. Today I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 possible experiences that I could do. And I decided, we'll see. I'll sleep in. I'll know more after that. Then I did the ecstatic dance. And then what arose was wanting to share this wisdom with you about living a life worthy of the divinity in your core. What would it be like to live a life worthy of your divine essence? To live a life where you tune in to the light in your core. You tune in to spirit. You ground each day. You use the breath as the tool it's meant to be, to center, to arrive, to embody your spirit. Inspiration. Embody your spirit. And then you live a life worthy of the spirit you embody. The original design is that you are a spark of the one being that is everything. And then you take on this human body and history and background and all of that stuff, because that's what we do in the third dimensional incarnational worlds. And yet, if you notice, there's an internal, almost imperative to open to, we don't know for sure what, but it's to open to our authentic nature, to open to that there must be more response from the universe. There must be more. There's something inside that says, wake up, wake up, wake up. You're more than you think. Your problems are too big for you. Expand into your light. Your relationships are too hard to make you want to shut down. Go inside, create a sanctuary in your heart, build the relationship with your own inner beloved, and bring love and breath to whatever's out there. When you're in past and future, the ego wants to find a way to change other people. If only I could get them to da 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 da. If only I could get them to hear me. If only, if only, if only. It doesn't sound like now, does it? So you're in your yearning, your if onlys, your judgments. And regardless of what it does to the other person, it's not pleasant for you. You don't have to be in your judgments. You can do better than that. You can find places inside for you to rest, just like you rest at the end of the out breath. You can ask your being help you to know your divinity. I'll often guide people of allowing on the in-breath, allowing your light to spiral down your center, follow it in, come resident in your body. It's best with that long, full breath. And then feel what it's like to really be full with you. And then on the out breath, you can let that sense of presence expand into the body, or you can release whatever is not you. And then you let your light spiral down your center, follow it in, and come sit in your heart chakra. Make a sanctuary there. So that when your life feels like too much, you come into your sanctuary. It's a lovely place to talk to the divine. You might put an altar in your sanctuary, get a nice comfy place to sit, and an altar and pretty things and symbols of your relationship with whomever you pray to. If you pray to love, have some symbol of love. If you pray to nature, have flowers, items that speak nature to you in the sanctuary of your heart. If you pray to God, have icons that represent that for you. If you have a certain tradition, bring in images of that tradition. I have images around my house of many of the world's traditions because I studied with Sufis for many years. Didn't get initiated, but I studied with them and danced with them, especially for many years. And so I have Yemaya and Shakti and angels and dark Madonna and light Madonna and all kinds of beings, masked from Africa and goddess statues and Kuan Yin. So wherever I look, I'm reminded that I'm part of something bigger than this. that the universe is always talking to me. It wants the best for me. One of the things that makes my heart ache sometimes is when someone says, I don't know why God is doing this to me. I don't know why Spirit wants me to go through this. And it makes my heart ache because God doesn't want, period. God is. And the divine doesn't decree bad things to happen to people. You might have had a lifetime where something's unfinished, what people call negative karma, and that's affecting you, but that's not because God made you have that lifetime or made it affect you. It's because your soul was exploring that and it's not done. And so we work with spirit and we help complete whatever's unfinished in that lifetime so you're not having to live from it anymore. The things that are really hard are meant to be ways of growing us, of evolving us. And if you're in your ego mind, it feels done to you. You're in that codependent triangle. I got to blame someone because I feel like a victim. And maybe I can rescue somebody. Then I feel like I've got a job at least. Otherwise, I'm a persecutor and I don't know how to get out of this. Breath. Just dead breath. Just dead breath. In this moment, I don't like what's happening. Loud vehicles going by, just dead breath. And perhaps you can make it a little task for yourself to notice how many breaths does it take to really get into now, to really find now and find the peacefulness of mind that happens when I'm really in now, when I'm smelling the flower, when I'm being. And just notice how many it takes. So 7 maybe. So you breathe, you can count, you can just be in it, but you also can make it a practice of, if I don't like what's happening, I will take 7 breaths before I say anything else. And if you're in a situation where you don't feel you can invite everyone else to breathe with you, you can say, oh, excuse me, I got to go to the bathroom, because that's always acceptable. And you go to the bathroom and you take your 7 breaths, or 3, or whatever it is. 3 will usually get me there. So another piece about how our physiology and our neurology works. When something happens that's shocking, challenging, intense, the reptilian brain responds first. Fight, flight, or freeze. It's what it's got. Fight, flight, or freeze. And that's where the reactivity comes in, because it's near the amygdala, where we store the emotions of other times, and it instantly, the reptilian brain and the ego pull something out and decide it's like that and get out of here or freeze or fight back. If you wait the length of a full breath, the conscious mind comes online. It takes about 7 seconds. Now you've got some resources. You can be more rational. You can put things in context. You can think about what would be wise to say. If you count to 10, the intuitive mind comes online. So count to 10, that's all it takes. Now you've got a lot more resources, and the intuitive mind might say, pause. If you wait a minute, they're going to get what they said. And then the other apologizes, and you just saved a whole negative scene. So breathing in response to the fight, flight, or freeze response. So you don't go with it, you breathe first. And count to 10, which is about 2 full breaths, to activate your intuitive mind. Now you've got resources in the now to do something different. People you've been around a lot, or lovers, family members, people with history. There's patterns. They say this, that triggers all the times they've done something like that or said something like that. We're in that reactivity. We're fighting old battles. But we couldn't win them then. We probably won't win them now. And do you want to be fighting? Or would you like to be the one who said, I think it'd be good to take a breath here? And they keep going, and you might say, I really need a second breath. I think I'll be able to hear you better, and I'd like to hear you. You're only responsible for what happens in here, but those two breaths will help you get in here. And then you have access to your heart's wisdom. The heart has 1,000 times more electromagnetic magnetic energy than the brain. It's able to process what's happening and come up with a response if you get there. And if you do this practice of breathing and coming and sitting in your heart, you have a new pattern that's growing. You do a new practice for 3 weeks and you not do the old one. The body will start deconstructing the old neuronal pathways and reconstructing new ones. Those old ones might be the well-worn path, but they often take you down. So you want to breathe and pause and take time for there to be a possibility of another path. Might be a little steeper because you might have to get over yourself and then go try and be right because it's never worked before with this person. And then you respond. And at any point you can say, hold on. One way to do if the other is not very cooperative is, oh, I have a thought. I hold on a second. Um, God, Goddess, guide my words, my thoughts, my actions inside. So what I'm noticing is, and then you come from that consciousness, you can notice what's happening and notice the response in you without being the response. That's what happens when you add breath. You can monitor all the different parts of you that want to respond in ways, some of them harmful, some disturbing, some making more peace, some disappearing. And if you're really in touch with your heart and you brought in your light, you might find a response that reconciles or remedies, that somehow moves things to a better place because it's brought you into now and you anchor now, and then the other person might join you there. Or they might not, but at least you get to have you in the now. And that's living a life worthy of the spark of divinity that you are. Living a life worthy of being the heart of the divine, having a human experience. In essence, what you're doing is you're tuning into, what does my divinity want here? I'll often just reach up, might even look up into my third eye and, in a sense, reach into the chakras beyond my crown because they have resources and secrets that can guide me. So, dear ones, it's a joy to bring this message to you. Whatever's happening, just add breath. 10 seconds. Everybody's got 10 seconds. You can on and off for 10 seconds if inside you're breathing and you're maybe even that prayer. I love that prayer. God, Goddess, guide my words, my thoughts, my actions. So I'm looking up and I'm allowing and I'm letting the words come from a heart-centered place. So hope you have a marvelous day and week in life. Add a lot of breath. Add a lot of breath. It's natural to the package. Much love. Deep blessings. Namaste. Namaste is the divinity in me honors and blesses the divinity in you. It comes from the Hindu tradition, and just like all my goddesses and masks and things come from traditions all over the world. I find this one precious. Saluting divinity to divinity helps us bring it out in each other. Namaste.